Okay.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, now we know.
Good job.
I know now. So that's me.
Hello, I'm Christine, and I've been professionally involved in early childhood for over 46 years. So I've learned alongside children, families and colleagues in nursery and within the primary sector in terms of leadership. I was a nursery school head teacher and head of an early excellence centre. And then I had this idea that the principles and ethics of and morality of working in early childhood would be really good to take that through into the primary phase. So I became a primary head teacher of a larger than average primary school in Peterborough, and that was the subject of my PhD research, which is now 10 years ago. So a long career in settings, and then finally I took up a post with the Payne Green Centre in Corby, where I taught on the masters and led the initial teacher education. I now work as an independent writer and researcher, and my research concerns are investigating early childhood leadership through poetic inquiry, but also I have a really long-standing interest in perceptions and multilingualism within early childhood. So I think that's...
I'm Vicky Bell. I'm one of the coordinators of this week, and along with Lorna, one of the coordinators of the Reception Class Teacher Network, and I'm the chair of Tactic. I'm the co-chair of the Alliance for Children's Early Years Working Group, so that focuses predominantly on policy as well. Do you speak? No. Only on Tuesday.
For half an hour.
It's absolutely fine. No, I have a lot of hats, but I do look good in hats, and so it's absolutely fine. But yes, I have lots of different pies, and it's so interesting because my research also used poetic inquiry. I used LEYE poetry to look at the lived experiences of reception and nursery class teachers within the schools. So there's obviously something about early years and poetry, isn't there, that just kind of brings it together. They also focus quite a lot on trauma-informed practice and on transition. So lots of pies, lots of hats, everything everywhere all at once.
Hi there, my name is Mary McQuaid. I am a lecturer in childhood practice at the University of Glasgow. I don't know how much you know about the devolved nature of education, particularly folks that aren't from the UK, but education has devolved to the Four Nations, so we've got a very different sector in Scotland. So everyone who works in leadership in early years in Scotland requires to have our degree or our master's in childhood practice, and it's a leadership qualification akin to a head teacher qualification. So I run the programme for the University of Glasgow. We have about 100 students every year that come through. Vicky is one of our other hats, she's our external examiner. And so I've been working across early years, but it's also out of school care and residential care for us. It's all non-compulsory care and education. So I've been working in that sector for over 20 years. I started off in practice. I then moved into a kind of local authority role supporting inspections within services that were struggling, and then I went into Scottish Government policy and worked in national policy as a civil servant for a number of years before working into academia. My research spans a few different areas. I look at care and education policy and how it's evolving in Scotland. I'm presenting here on a mentoring project that I do with early years heads, where we're training up experienced heads to mentor new heads who are coming into the sector. And I also use poetry in a project that I've been working on for a few years, looking at practitioner identities. And I'm looking very much at kind of learner-leader identities and the complexity of being a learner at university when you're used to being a leader within your sector, and how people navigate those kind of dual identities. World of hats. And I've just joined Tactic as a trustee. I'm a trustee on people as well.
So you are now collecting hats?
I have many hats.
Great.
I keep them under my bed.
Oh, that's lovely. Oh yes, and I should introduce myself also. So my name's Maddie. I was always involved in early childhood, off and on from my own childhood. My mother set up a kindergarten when I was 2 because there wasn't anything suitable in the area. And as is often the case, if your mother runs a nursery, then you are inevitably drafted in to help. We swore that I was never going to get into teaching. I was going to be an actress, but here I am. So yes, I was an early years professional. I worked in a variety of different settings, and went to university quite late, did a degree in early childhood, and at that point I was saying to Lorna in the car, I just got a big burst of ambition all of a sudden, and decided that I'd go and do a PhD. So my PhD was in how different education systems foster creativity in young children. I did it was narrative inquiry, and I looked at Catalonia, which was where I'd lived for 4 years. I had some experience of the area and England, and had a real good look at how the history, the culture, the politics of a place all kind of trickle from the macro system down into the microsystem of the classroom, and I absolutely loved it. I moved into academia at that point, and for professional reasons was kind of moved away from early childhood. Then I had the opportunity to lead a program on educational leadership. I thought, this is my chance. And I came to one of these conferences, and there was nothing about early years at the time. So I chatted to a couple of people, and they said, well, you should set up a research interest group. So I did. And yeah, that's what happened. And so at the moment, as Lorna said, we're engaged in the early stages of a bit of a research project that is moving towards setting up a leadership development network for leaders in early years. And I'm also working on a project with my colleague Simon, who works with us on the network. He can't be here today, which is theorising an approach to leadership in early years, creative early years leadership. So yes, your talk of poetry really fascinated me, and actually thinking about my PhD, I illustrated that, and there was a lot of creative acts in the process of developing that work. So yes, this symbiosis between creativity and early years education is at the heart of what I try to do. So yes, I'll be presenting 2 papers at this conference. The one with Lorna about the development of this of the network, and the other one about creative early years leadership. So yes, I'll be looking out for you. Hopefully you might come along to see those. And Vicky, you are also presenting too, aren't you?
So Lorna and I are presenting about research and class teacher network and tactics. So if you're not familiar with those organisations, do come along and hear about those. And that's tomorrow at 9 AM. And Leslie, you're chairing, aren't you?
Am I?
Chairing our session? Or are you chairing that session?
I think I am an accidental chair because I submitted the symposium. So it seems that it's assumed that I'm chairing. But as I will be presenting one of those papers,
Sorry.
Unfortunately, Leslie, I'm presenting one of the papers in the symposium, so you might have to be a temporary chair.
No worries. And Mary, you're presenting.
Yeah, I'm presenting a third paper on our mentoring project with Glasgow City Councils.
And that's in the same 9 AM session.
So we're hoping that not everybody goes for dinner tonight and gets quite drunk.
Yes.
And come to the 9 AM
Yes.
session.
We're hoping people turn up.
I'll just check it out.
Yeah, we're presenting together tomorrow at 2:05, and we have a chapter in a new publication that's coming out, which is theorising leadership, creative and critical approaches.
Oh, I'm coming to that.
That sounds amazing.
So we're sort of in the middle of it, aren't we? Yes, which is great.
So we're in the middle of this. So we're chapter 3 in the book, but very much in the middle of the presentations tomorrow. So there's various chapters being presented tomorrow, and we're kind of in the middle of all of that.
Yes.
And of course we have our book that we're working on. We've had several submissions already from people who would like to be part of the book, haven't we? I think, is it 5?
Something like that.
Submissions
Yeah,
already.
we've had some preliminary discussions.
We have.
But we just
Yes,
need-
yes,
yes.
Please get your expression.
That's
That's
try our
part
very
of our,
best.
that's part of.
We're living together for the next weekend, so we'll.
Yes, so we're hoping that we'll have some
Amazing.
headspace to,
Amazing.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and people online as well, we'd love you to consider, and people in the room, you probably already presumed, we're just presuming you're submitting at some point.
And Shirley-Ann, this is an internationally focused book, so please don't feel excluded from this at all if you would like to submit a chapter proposal to us.
Thank you very much.
And we
That's
know,
a very nice opportunity.
yeah,
Thank you.
we know there's fantastic work going on in Malta. I think, Lorna, was it Camilleri?
Sorry?
An author called Camilleri in Malta, who's looked at sort of the very similar themes to us in terms of focusing on what it's like to be early years in a school. So I hope we can have something from you as well. It would be wonderful.
Thank you. I will look it up. Thank you. I will look up the call for chapters that you are mentioning.
Perfect.
Thank you.
So how long have we got? Oh, we're good for time. So I think at this point we open the floor. So if anyone has any questions about the research interest group or suggestions about the research interest group, this would be an opportunity to raise those.
So what kind of activities do you get up to over the course of a normal year?
Well, normal year. So this is our
This is a normal
first year working as a
This is
team
3
together.
years.
So we've done different things over the years, and there have been kind of peak years and trough years. But this year we have been unusually active. So we have had a mixture. We've had kind of talks. We've had guest speakers come in. We've called them previously things like lunchtime leadership. So we'll have someone come in, present on their research or the work that they're doing, and then there's a little bit of Q&A afterwards. We had a more of a meeting a little bit like this online. Was that last month we did that?
I think it was last month.
It was a bit of a relaunch event because we are a new team. We were talking about our plans going forward. So obviously we put together this symposium for this event. And then in the autumn, we have got an opportunity for people to kind of share things that they're working on in the autumn, one of which we were going to share on how our launch event and things have gone with the network. And we're looking for sort of kind of news from members. Everyone gets 5-10 minutes or so to share what it is they're doing. Working on this book as well this year. We're hoping that will, I think, looking at the timeline, it'll be a relatively short turnaround on that book.
They say it's 6 months, about 6 months, a really super quick turnaround. Obviously 6 months from when we've written.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I was thinking, wow.
Once
Yeah,
they
that's this
once
year.
they get it in, they're very quick and they're very keen. And because of the type of group we are, they're confident that they can do that because they know that we're all academics, we're all working at a certain level. They feel confident they can do that quite quickly.
Yeah.
Which is amazing because we all know how long it takes to get things published. So
Book turnarounds recently have been bonkers.
Yeah.
I was asked in December to write a book chapter by the end of January. The book's coming out next month.
Yeah.
It just seems like we've compressed the timeline compared to a couple of years ago. A lot of the publishers are just working at a different pace.
And I suppose it's to do with the fact that so many things, and I know we're guilty of it too at Tactic, but so many things you can print it, you can publish it yourself online so easily now. that they're trying to compete with that market. And it is a different thing to have a book published by a recognised publisher than to publish yourself. But if they're now able to keep up with demand, I think that's wonderful. And in fact, it's so much quicker than having a journal article published now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wondering
And whether-
who's the publisher then?
Myers.
Yes.
So Myers, and I can't remember the full name. Is it Myers Educational Press?
Yes, that's right.
MEP, that sounds right.
And I think the reason for the fast turnaround on this one particularly is because somebody Myers, the person who runs it, has a lot to do with the United States BELMAS equivalent. And so they've actually approached BELMAS and said, we would like to do a series based on the work with your rigs. So yeah, it was a really, really nice opportunity. We've not had to go around, sort of selling our wares, if you like. So yes, we've got the bookwork coming up over the next year. But what was quite nice at our last meeting is we asked members what they would like from us. And we were having a conversation about how we can kind of share our resources and understanding a little bit more. Because during the course of our conversations, like we've mentioned this bit of research or that bit of research, and we do have other members who are international as well. We had a couple of visitors from Chile, wasn't it, at the last meeting? And so in our conversations afterwards, we're trying to work with BELMAS at the moment to set up something like a Padlet, where anyone who is signed up to the rig, if you find something interesting or if you publish something interesting, you can put the citation, the DOI, whatever, on there, and we can share that. And you can even put in a little mini review as well, for example, like, oh, this is a particularly interesting methodology, etc., etc. So I think previously the rigs in BELMAS have been quite light touch, like you just associate yourself with one, but you don't necessarily do anything together. You might go to events or you might not. But I think really what we're aiming for is building a little bit more of a community this year and moving forward, so that we will have these means to kind of keep in touch. It may sound bonkers, but we never had a mailing list before. It was never clear who was in a rig and who wasn't. But because the work of the rigs has changed slightly, we now know a little bit more who our members are, and so we can kind of target activities to suit. And equally, a rig is to serve its members, so any suggestions that you do have going forward, please do share. Did I answer one of your question there, Marie?
Yeah, absolutely. No,
I always need to check because I tend to go off.
Is there anything else that anybody would like us to be doing that we're not currently doing? Or any suggestions at all?
I really like the idea of Padlet and of having a space to share kind of current research, because everyone's working sometimes in quite niche areas.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting just to see where the kind of areas of crossover are between people's works and interests. That's great.
And I think between the sorts of I'm calling it show and tell, for want of a better word, where people can sort of, give a 5-minute update on their own work and where they are, and having this sort of digital book club almost with Padlet, where you can comment on texts, that information exchange gives that sense of community, hopefully.
One of the things that I find really useful is, well, first of all, find it difficult, and then something that I've done to overcome it. One of the reasons why I started doing my EdD at Sheffield was because I too was teaching on the foundation degree in BA top-up for Pen Green, and felt that, and I did it in Liverpool and in Bradford, the gap between academia and the jobbing practitioner is just widening daily. And one of the things that we do through our kind of marketplaces where we have
there are two authors. So one
You need this email address.
Sorry?
Sorry, so it's John Kerry.
Go ahead.
There we are, that's better.
Sorry about that.
Do you wiggle it?
Yeah, so the gap between academia and the jobbing practitioner, and I mean, when I'm talking about jobbing practitioners, it's all really great that the maintained sector is driving research forward, but we're not sharing the voices of those PBI sector practitioners. And so one of the things that we do, we have a marketplace for our early years sector in Blackpool where we gather. It's a little bit like a conference where there's freebies and people to talk to, but then there's a little bit of a community of practice. And we've just got a very small community now that are prepared to interrogate some academic papers with us. And we do that through sort of our leadership learning group. It's, you know, it's not easy. It is largely inaccessible, you know, some of the language that we use. And I find it a little bit inaccessible because that's where I'm from. You know, that was my background. Now I've got my very good friend Christine and my other very good friend Sandra, who, you know, support me to navigate all of that. And I'm all right now. I think I'm all right.
I'm going to you now.
Yeah.
So it's very well right now.
But yeah, there's definitely a job to do. I feel it's really important that we've definitely got a job to do here around supporting those jobbing practitioners to access and to take part in the research and to present and to write and to do all of that stuff, I think.
Catherine, I totally agree with you because leading this new towards the course, obviously we've got employment-based students coming onto our early years teacher status programme, and the fire that I've seen in their belly, and but equally the imposter syndrome,
Totally,
and just the empowerment that it's taken, and I get it because I have that imposter syndrome too. But what I have seen is we do a module which is called the Reflective Teacher, where they do an Agents of Change piece, where they choose a contemporary issue that they're really passionate about, and then they basically do sort of systematized literature review, and then from that they set an action plan to be an agent of change within their new leadership role within the setting. And it's changed them. They've talked about this sort of huge change that's happened in the way they perceive themselves and the way they show up in that space every day, leading others. And lots of those from private
no, absolutely, definitely.
I think that it's probably been, there's been a few things that filled my cup. Reception Class Teacher Network, being part of the leadership and early years education SIG, but also seeing those students, just the empowerment that they feel, and stripping away all that crazy language, and saying it is accessible, you just need to check out his head a bit. So I'm totally with you.
And it's not just the academic papers, it's policy too.
Yes.
About that before. The second you mention policy, they'll go,
that's not me.
Nothing to do with me. I don't do politics. And actually, when you start introducing them to it and picking it, then they realize everything they do is covered by policy, and you can see that realization that why are they doing?
And somebody's made that decision for them. You know, that's this is the whole thing. It's about policy. It's about, you know, as I was just going to say, I was wondering whether the rapidness of the papers and the books and all of that coming out are because policy is changing so quickly and we can't keep up with it. You know, we're trying to test stuff, aren't we? That's what we do. We're trying to test to inform policy, but also kind of we're backtracking now, testing stuff that's already out there. And you know, it's just that there's just a disconnect, and there doesn't need to be, because you know I work with practitioners every day, ask them to do things every day. Can you try this? And they're so willing to do it. But if you said the reason why we're doing this is something to do with self-regulation and executive functioning, they'd go, what? Get out. I've got tiring, like they genuinely would. But if we say something about, this is really going to sort of support your children to make the best out of all the learning opportunities that they've got available in this space, not at school, not the next steps, but in this space, in your space, they go, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that. So,
You have reminded me, actually, that something that came out of our launch event as well, and discussions afterwards. So, currently the policy on RIG events is that they're only for RIG members and for BELMAS members. But if non-BELMAS members want to join, they have to pay £5. Now, we know what our sector looks like, and we're also quite, sort of cautious of the fact that this becomes an academic echo chamber. We secured a concession, didn't we? We can run one event a year, which is free to anyone who has an interest in leadership and early years education, which is something that I think could be really, really helpful in ensuring that we've got this kind of symbiotic relationship working between these two very important sectors. We need each other. Without our contacts in the field, we are irrelevant. But they also need us to be able to push things forward, to advocate, etc.
I was just reflecting on what you were saying and thinking one of the things I push a lot with my students is that they need to engage with policy. They need to respond to consultations that are national and government level. They know more about legislation than anybody but the police because of the heavily kind of regulated sector that they work in. But there's a course that I teach on policy where we say this is what national policy looks like, this is how you're delivering it, and this is where the spaces are that they touch that you really, really need to know about. And I do find it really interesting because what we do is we go, okay, if you don't like it, what would you do instead? And we go, okay, so you don't think we should have this expansion, or you don't think 2-year-olds should be in nursery, or you don't think, what should we do instead? And get them to really, really unpick what the social issues are that these policies have come to address. And it can be, I find that's a really good way of getting practitioners close to the decision-making reasons. To child poverty. Why are we doing nursery like this? What are we trying to address here? And it can kind of open up those conversations without going into the academic language, but with going into the language of government and the language of governing the sector. I think it'd be really interesting.
And sort of building on what Mary's just said there, at Tactic we run an event that is called Insights for Policy from Practice at the House of Lords. It's poster events. It's just happened. We saw it. And fortunately it happened during a heat wave. With rail disruption, so attendance was not great, but the MPs who attend, the peers who attend really value it because it is exactly that. It is saying, this is an issue, this is why the current policy is wrong, and this is what we should do instead, and being positive about it, but saying it in really simple terms, because we do get people who use very big long words, and I just think, do you really think your MP knows what that means? They really don't. So, it's about being able to convey it in that way. And it's a tricky one because we're not allowed to advertise it under the House of Lords rules. So it's if you're in the know, you're in the know, but perhaps it's something through the room we can
disseminate a little bit.
It's an opportunity, and I think it's one that that even if they can't come to the event, they value having that booklet that they can flick through. And let's be honest, it's probably not the MP themselves, it's their end who will flick through it and go, oh, Lorna did something on this. I wonder if I can get in touch with her and just because they will be given something to vote on. And told, right, you're going to now go and vote on reception classes, and they'll be like, well, what do I do? I've got half an hour, who do I talk to? So it's, it's so needed. Hoping to take it to Scotland soon as well.
I would also just add to that though, I think it's really important for academic researchers to understand the ebb and flow of the political year, because there are times that you will be listened to, and there's times that you won't be listened to, and there's times
That's a good idea.
you know, that people are sitting desperately waiting for ideas or desperately needing input on certain policy areas, and there's other times where like leave me alone, I don't have time for this. So I think it's really important for academics to be aware of when are good times to approach politicians, cabinet secretaries, people at all different levels, and civil servants.
I think that in itself, I think that's a lovely rig event to have. Sort of demystifying the political year for early years researchers. And what you were saying previously as well, I think if we're able to do this one rig event a year for anyone and have practitioners coming along, then there's an event in there, isn't there, about sort of demystifying educational research for practitioners, and perhaps getting one or two researchers along to present their research in a very practitioner friendly way.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And there's no restriction on how long the event is.
No. Some of the other rigs do huge events over a couple of days. I think we might ultimately be constrained by budget. But it all depends, and if we do it online, and of course it doesn't cost as much, but we might be able to host something at one of the universities that we work at. There's all sorts of possibilities.
I think that would be a really great one. So that may be a biggie for next year. I think there's a few people who could talk on that in this room.
I wouldn't do it in a university though. I'd do it in Blackpool. Come to Blackpool. But I do think it's a barrier. Do you know what I mean? I think they think it's not for me.
Yeah.
I know that it's kind of handier to do it in a place that we own, but we could
have to pay for.
We could find some.
Actually, we're all who leads the Alliance for Children's Blackpool base.
Yeah. Oh really?
So he would be really up for doing something. It's just that finding a venue and looking at our budgets that's the.
Well, I'm just looking at Chris there because I keep trying to tell Tony Bertram to bring Asira to Blackpool because he was born in Blackpool. And he went I can see his school that he went to from my front garden. So I keep saying, bring Asira to Blackpool. I want everything.
Mention it to him.
Yeah, do.
Blackpool Tower Ballroom.
I know, you see? There you go.
The thing is with the financial situation of most people who are practitioners, wherever, if it was going to be in person, we only get people who are local to that time. So within maybe an hour at the most of time, whereas if it was
Manchester's an hour.
or something that's multi-location.
Multi-sites and hybrid on multi-sites. So, you kind of have hubs.
That's a good idea.
So a central wheel and look at the hub effect then, so that we can get the best of everything. And then even if you only have 6 people in a room, there's still that sense of being part of something bigger.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice idea.
Yes, lots of food for thought.
So we do have a date, don't we, for our, do we have a date? Don't we have a date? I can't remember.
There were dates.
We have dates. We're not sure when they are, but we do have dates in mind for sort of next events, but we will definitely look at maybe if we can plan this policy one to tie in with when the expressions for interest for tactic comes out, then it gives people a sort of somewhere to go with it as well, so that we can, it's usually, I like to give it at least a 4-month lead time because we do a lot of peer reviews and all the posters are peer reviewed, then we need time to print, we need time to liaise with House of Lords, we need time to do all of that, but I think that definitely there's 3 excellent speakers here who could talk about policy, and then we could just see where do we go with that. But it may also be something that people want to be a chapter in the book that's about sort of leading policy, leading change. It would be really great. Do we want to wrap up to give everybody time to go to the loo before lunch, or?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Unless we have anything from our people online, does anyone want to add anything?
Can I go?
Of course.
If I may. I cannot agree more with everything that was said so far here. And as a leader working in the early years, I experienced firsthand the disconnect between policy and practice. Working, and I cannot agree more when it was said about the fact that research within the PVIs, it's a significant gap. It is a significant gap. There is wonderful practice going on that is yet to be researched. This week I had an unannounced Ofsted inspection, and to my pleasure, it was such a significant experience and wonderful experience for the first time as a leader over the 15 years that I worked in the early years, to see Ofsted working alongside leaders and not to feel scrutinized, but rather to have those professional conversations. And it goes to show that working together as policymakers and practitioners within the context would make a significant difference for every single child. And I do believe as leaders, we all, and researchers, we all there to benefit every single child, and children are at the heart of all our decision makings in terms of being professionals working within the context, but also researchers. So that's all from me.
Lovely.
I cannot share the grade because it has gone to quality assurance, but it was a great experience, and for the first time I felt so pleased with the way that we were studied. So yeah,
you're smiling, so that's a good thing. Well done, you.
I mean, it was, and for the first time to hear that she was pleased to see how our children were learning through play, and mentioning that, because that is the sort of practice we adopt. We know our children, we know our cohorts. We can't impose something and aim for school readiness in terms of numbers, letters, because that's not our understanding, if that makes sense. So to hear that from an Ofsted inspector, it actually warmed my heart in a great way.
Oh, congratulations. Well done. And actually there's 4 great speakers on policy in the room, because your work is also on policy, so that would be wonderful.
Yes, he was, and you could tell that now Ofsted is listening more, and it's not like we are the Ofsted, you are the setting. And despite the fact that, as I said, they came unannounced, because we know now they're doing lots of visits randomly, it was such a, and I would prefer that, to be honest with you, rather than be, just informed that Ofsted will come to visit, because it's a way to show that practice should be always the same, and not to show off just because it's Ofsted, because children deserve the best start in life, and it's not just in paper, but or in policy, is the practice. And this is something that we're always missing. There is a lot of practice going on, and those voices are barely heard within the context. And that practice, those models that some organizations they developed for themselves. So we really want to have that into the research. We really want to bring those views, experiences, and perspectives into research.
Amazing.
Mm.
So it's great to hear that there is some listening going on. Maybe a positive future ahead. Let's see.
Fantastic. Well, I think, Vicky, I think you make a good point. We should wrap up. But for anyone in the room and anyone online, please do get in touch if you have got any questions, suggestions for us. I'm right in thinking our emails are on the website, aren't they?
Our email address is on the website, or you can contact us just through the central email at BELMAS, and they'll bounce it back to us.
Yes.
And the expression of interest went out to members of the rig, did it? Or did it go on the website?
It's on the website.
It's on the website. There you
It's
go.
on the website. It's on the website.
We should probably look at our own website from time to time.
We should. So we'd love to hear from you, and the date there for when that closes is also on there. So please don't hesitate. If you've got any questions, just get in touch. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thank you.
Great stuff.
Bye, everyone online.
Bye.